Hey, welcome to the first installment of the series I'm going to be doing to help new subs kind of see if this is something that they want to do, or teach them um, how to be a sub, or how to know if their Dom is a real Dom, right? I'm also going to have a series coming up about the same kind of thing, but for dogs, right? So the first thing to know is, do you want to do this? Okay. So there, in my experience, there's kind of two different categories on uh, the attitude when someone's interested in being a sub when they're new. Is one is they're curious, right, which is great, right? You're interested in learning more about it, maybe trying it, right? That's awesome, right? And then there's the other section where it's their biggest fantasy and it's all they ever want to try and do. Now there's pros and cons to having the two different kinds of attitude. Um, when you haven't done it before, or maybe only played but never done any relationship. So like having a fantasy of it and always wanting to have tried it, that's great excitement, but that excitement only lasts so long, right? Like it is the Dom's job to keep things interesting and exciting, but that excitement that you built up inside yourself, that will disappear over time, right? It's been proven in so many different kind of studies and stuff like that, that if someone wins the lottery, whatever it is, $10 million, it's a lot of money, right? Super exciting, right? If by chance they don't blow their money away, right? The excitement goes away after a couple months, right? Even if they're still rich, right? $10 million, right? Let's say they have nine after a couple months, they won't be excited about it anymore. It's just like you get a new car. I just got a new car about a couple months ago, right? Favorite car I've ever owned. Yeah, I really like it, but I can already know that I'm not as excited about it as I was before, right? So excitement from material objects don't last very long, but also excitement from ideas don't last as long. For example, bdsm, let's try that, I'm excited about trying it. Dom, sub, it's awesome. uh, that attitude towards it, that won't last, right? So but the good news is when you do have that excitement, it motivates you to try it. My understanding from my experience is that is a very big positive of having that mentality, and that motivation to try it is the downfall of the other one. So when you're curious, want to know more information, that's great, right? It means that you're cautious, you want to protect yourself, you want to know more before you do something. But what I found is that there becomes a point where you just have to try it, right? And that's kind of the hardest thing that I found for when they have those mentalities, when a new sub has those mentality, or that mentality, that they have troubles trying it, right? They'll be interested in it, but never want to give their submission or try it, or they would, yeah, because in a relationship of this style, you have to kind of jump in with both feet. You can't just dip your toe in to the water, so to speak, and see how it feels, right? It won't ever work. It'll feel cold all the time, right? It's something that you have to jump into. Obviously, you make sure that you like that person and you can get to know them, take as much time on that. But if it's not like a normal relationship where you go on a few dates first, and then then you kiss, and then 6 weeks later, then you go farther, right? If you know what I mean, right? It's a little bit more like how it works is you do negotiations, right? If you don't know what negotiations are, that's basically where you talk about your needs and desires, and the Dom says the same things. They set out like rules. It can be very simple, but basically after negotiations agreed upon, submissions given, and then you jump into it, right? Where a normal relationship is kind of like, you meet someone, you think you like them, and then you kind of just wing it from there, right? So it's more structured, but there's a point, and it's much quicker than a normal relationship generally, that you just jump into it. And the ones who are just curious about it, I usually find that they have issues with like trying it, right? Getting up the courage to be like, okay, I want to try this, right? And then again, the other one is their excitement diminishes. Like they try it, it's really awesome for a little while, a couple months usually is all it is, and then the excitement diminishes on their end, and it's almost like you could see the light fade from their eyes, so to speak, with their idea of it, right? It is exciting, and generally those ones who get really excited, once they try it, what they'll do is they'll go with their first dom. First dom will last a couple months generally, and then it can be less, it can be a little bit more, but generally the first dom, it'll end, and then their second dom will be the one who they do the things that they learned, like everything that they were taught from the first dom, they'll do that with the second dom, but they won't have enough courage to do it with the first one, because they'll keep their old attitudes. Yeah, but that's from my experience. I've had that happen where I have had subs who've had one dom before and only a couple months. I've had it where I've had a sub for a couple months, and then they find a new dom, and I hear everything's going great, right? And they last a long time, right? So whether that's true or not, that's what I've noticed, right? So obviously, right, if you find a dom, I'll be giving you some ideas on things you can do to help make sure that doesn't happen, because obviously hopping around depends on what you want, but personally, I'm not really into hopping around, right? I like to have a sub. Before, a few years ago, I was a little bit younger. I'm 25 now, almost 26 in a couple months. But when I was younger, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there, I was more in it just for the play. But now that I'm older, I'm more interested in having something long-term, permanent, and that's what I'm looking for. So also, you'll find that once you enter this kind of relationship, that the other kinds of relationships, the normal relationships, they seem really boring, right? I've done both. I've done both more recently as well. I always find normal relationships just boring, right? Because unless your partner is very exciting, right, and you're both very outgoing, right, it can be hard to keep things like fun, right? Now, some people don't have issues with that. A lot of people do. But in a dom sub relationship, if you think of something fun, like I'm very creative, so if I think of something fun, I can just be like, what's your schedule like? Perfect. Okay. Do this. Be ready for this, and we're doing this on this day, and then we go do that. And so having it where you can, like, I can take full control and do things that are exciting for both of us. I like that because it keeps things very interesting. And because something I really don't like is having it where one person's lazy. I've had not subs, but I've had been in relationships where my partner's been fairly lazy, and you never do anything. It's like you're trapped almost. So it's very boring. So in this, giving me the power to be able to go do things, whatever it is, camping, just, well, it depends on what they're into and what kind of stuff they are. But yeah, there's lots of things you can do, dinners, things like that, right? So basically with the rest of the installments, what I'm going to be doing is kind of going into the details. Next one's going to be about finding out what kind of sub you are, right? It's pretty important to know that. So keep an eye out for that. It'll probably come in a day or two. If you have any ideas about things you want me to talk about or think I missed anything, let me know. As I said on my last video, I currently get notifications on my phone, so as soon as you leave a comment, I'll get it right on my phone, and if it's an idea or something, and I think it's really good to make a video of it, I will, right? And but other than that, if you guys like the video, of course, like it, and then subscribe. We're pushing for 500 subs right now. Maybe a few years from now, it'll be way more than that, and look back at this video and think it all started around there sometime. So I think we're at 230, 240 around this video, so the time I made this video. So 500 is what we're going for, so click that sub button, and that really helps me out. So I'll talk to you guys again in a couple days, and peace out.